This is the news on top of the hour.
Live from our studio in Georgetown.
Kaieteur Radio, 99.1 FM.
Good morning and welcome to this morning's newscast on Kaieteur Radio. I am Kevin Smith. Let's get to the news in detail. Guyana's Vice President Dr. Barrett Jagdeo has suggested that in light of the perceived benefits, a gas-to-shore pipeline from the Liza field to the Wales estate is a no-brainer, given the possibility of reducing the cost of generation of electricity in Guyana. Former Energy Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Kevin Ramnarine, is of the view that Guyana needs to do much more before forging ahead with the project, since, among other reasons, the touted $800 million price tag is just for the pipeline alone. He was adamant, too, that if Guyana is serious about developing a feasible natural gas industry using the associated gas discovered so far in the Stabroek Block, it must first undertake an independent audit of the gas reserves. The country is currently dependent on ExxonMobil for its data regarding the Stabroek Block potential. And now let's tell you, even with some improvements to Guyana's financial system, like the enactment of the Fiscal Management and Accountability Act of 2003, the country's public financial management is still, quote-unquote, inadequate. This is according to the Inter-American Development Bank in its recent report titled Economic Institutions for a Resilient Caribbean. The IDB noted that in its country strategy for Guyana for 2016 to 2020, the enactment of the FMA Act of 2003 led to improvements of public financial management. The act, together with two others, regulated internal auditing. This, the bank said, is although most ministries remain without internal auditing offices. In addition, the bank said that ICT upgrades and capacity building fostered sustainability and improved transparency in Guyana's public institutions. Nevertheless, the IDB stated that PFM was still inadequate. And moving on, Guyana's President Dr. Irfaan Ali is calling on the developed world to do more for developing countries, taking into account the prevailing coronavirus pandemic and its implications, in addition to other economic realities. Such assistance, according to Dr. Ali, could come in the form of debt forgiveness. He encouraged the granting of debt relief by bilateral and commercial creditors, not explicitly participating in debt relief initiatives. He said, Guyana is deeply concerned over the widening development chasm between rich and poor countries as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, and reiterated calls for more systems to be put in place to aid countries struggling to rebound from the deadly disease. In other news, in the 2021 national budget, the Regional Democratic Council of Region 10 has been allocated $4.7 billion, and tenders are already being advertised for capital and current projects under education, agriculture, health, infrastructural, and administrative works. According to Regional Executive Officer Dwight Johnson, out of the allocated sum, a total of $916 million will go towards capital works. Under education, the sum of $274 million has been allocated for both capital and current projects. The majority of the funds, he said, will go to the first phase of construction of schools across the region. A document provided by the REO shows that a total of $419 million will be expended under the health sector, which is the sector benefiting from the largest budgetary cut. And now let's tell you, despite the COVID-19 pandemic and the restrictions that have been imposed on the country, Pagua was still celebrated in sections of the country. In the ancient county of Berbice, there were celebrations among close family members and friends on Sunday. Moreover, it wasn't the usual Holi celebrations, with persons visiting each other's homes to play with water, the colorful abir, and powder. Rather, the atmosphere was mostly somber and quiet for many. On the Essequibo coast, the regular marching on Pagua Day was ditched and replaced by small groups of a few friends and neighbors. It is understood that due to the social distancing and public gathering guidelines, the singing of Chow Tal was not embraced this year. And moving on, yesterday, Guyana received a donation of 24,000 doses of the Oxford AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine from the COVAX facility. COVAX, which is a partnership between the Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Innovations, Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, PAHO, WHO, and UNICEF, had earmarked a quota of vaccines to cater for 20% of Guyana's population since last year. Its main objective is to ensure the equitable distribution of COVID-19 vaccines globally. The vaccines arrived at the Chedi Jagan International Airport yesterday. In an official release, COVAX stated that the delivery of the vaccines is just the first phase of deliveries for Guyana, with much more vaccines expected to arrive during 2021. And finally, let's tell you that the Ministry of Health yesterday reported the death of two females, a 67-year-old from Region 3 and a 63-year-old from Region 4, as the latest COVID-19 fatalities. Their deaths bring the national death toll to 229. 14 new infections were also recorded yesterday, increasing the total number of infections to 810,182. 11 patients are in the COVID-19 ICU, another 14 in institutional quarantine, 54 in institutional isolation, and 966 in home isolation. Additionally, a total of 8,922 persons have recovered to date, while 113 new recoveries were recorded as of yesterday.
And that's the news of the moment. Remember to get the full details of these stories, pick up a copy of the Kaieteur News. And don't forget, you can catch us on the MyTuner app as well as the Radio Garden app. You can also keep up to date by liking